Well, here we are once again. It's been about 10 days since I originally installed the lights. And they're working, but not properly. That's because they did not come with resistors, nor does it say anything on the LED Factory Mart website that they require them. So what we're going to do is install the driver's side resistor, because I only ordered 2, and install them on the passenger side to see if that was the solution, which it is. But now I'm going to do it and hook both of them up properly. And when I say properly, I do things a little overboard, because it's just better that way. Because in the long run, if I have some kind of electrical fault or I'm relying on my lights and I'm in the middle of nowhere, then I'm kicking myself because I did it the cheap and easy way instead of doing it for $2 more and 5 more minutes of my time. So let's see here. Here's the resistors that came from Amazon, and they are, let me see here, they're these 50 watt 6 ohm resistors, and they work. They do everything fine. The issue is they send you these connectors that a lot of people use for trailer lights and whatnot. And what this plastic thing does is it takes two lines and connects them by using this metal pin, and you push it down after you put the wires through, and it connects the wires enough to where it connects that electrical connection there, and then you shut this over them. Let me see here. See that? And it locks down. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to remove them, and I'm going to use these wire connectors. And what these are is, if you can see in the side in the package, and I'll show you when I'm about to connect them, is these are heat shrink solder ball connectors. So if you see right here, right in the middle there, let me see if that comes up in the video. Right there in the middle, you'll see a solder ball, and when it gets hot, it's going to melt and really fuse these together, and it's going to be a watertight joint. You're never going to have an issue. If you have an issue with this connection, there's nothing that could have stopped it. The way the factory directions from LED Factory Mart, if you can even call them directions, it says to actually jam your yellow wire into the turn signal connection and then plug this into the socket port. That's ridiculous. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cut this wire right where you see the split already, and I'm going to do the wire connection there, and I'll show you more in detail when I do it. But for the driver's side, it's going to be the blue wire. You can see it's like almost all blue. The other one's white and black. And let's see, we'll just take this out right now. Same thing on the other side. The one is white and black, and the other one is white. So obviously white and black is like the ground and whatnot, and we're going to tap into this non-white and black, this one closer to us there. It's almost like an off yellow creamish color. And I have some wire. I bought some 16 gauge wire, which is a little bit larger than this. Is 18 gauge wire. But I don't know if you can really see it here. The harness comes from the battery, and then you have this connection here. It's really not well thought out. This connection here is a quick disconnect. You know, let me see if I can take it out. There we go. There's the other end right there. There's really no reason for the connect to be this far over. The harness should split right after the battery, and then one goes to the driver's side, and the long piece goes to the passenger side. But in this case, the short piece goes to the passenger side, and the long piece, there's no way around it. It's just, it doesn't work any other way. So it's very strange. Like all this extra wire. See all this extra wire here? This harness really, the length, this length here should be really on this part of the wire, making the journey over to here, and where it should then connect to the other incoming electrical connection to this bulb on the driver's side, and then connecting both for the power supply and the ground to the battery. Who knows? It is what it is. So I got a little extra wire. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to add with the same solder heat shrink connectors. I'm going to give a little bit of distance right before this quick disconnect. So I'm going to bring this connect like over to here so I can route the wires correctly so it's not looking ridiculous. All right, so I've cut the blue wire and I've stripped it about 1/3 or 1/4 of an inch, and I've slid the soldering heat shrink connector over the first wire, and I'm going to connect the ongoing light with this one and then stick both into there. And you can see where the soldering ball is now. See it in the center? We're going to connect. I'm going to twist these two together like that, and then stick both of these in there, and they'll cross each other equally. And once they do that, I'll give my wire strippers on the end there. I'll just crimp it just a little bit to hold it in place on that soldering ball, and then I'll heat shrink it. And with these heat shrink soldering ball connectors, you want to you want to heat shrink the ends first, because if you do the center first, the solder ball is finally going to melt and it's going to leak out the end because you didn't heat shrink the ends. So heat shrink the ends first, work your way from the outsides, then inside, because once you heat shrink the ends and they've crimped down to the wires, then when you heat up the solder ball, it's not going to go anywhere but where it's supposed to be.
Moments later.
All right, you can see now that I have the blue wire leading from the car going into this heat shrink solder connection. The solder ball is now crimped on all 3 wires, and you have the blue and the yellow coming out. I'm about to heat it up. You have a very small space to work in here. You want to keep the heat away from both the washer tank and this other wire. So I'm probably going to put some aluminum foil or something around here and just take it easy. I might just use a lighter because I brought one out here because I couldn't find my heat gun for a while, but I'll show you a picture when I'm done here. And you'll probably notice a little difference. I crimped down the ball right there, but when I heat it up, it probably is going to spill out more in a goo, like a soup in there, so we'll see. So I don't know if you can see, but I cut this sleeve here to get more of a working area. So I'm going to put both these sets of wires back into the sleeve and use some electrical tape and just button it up here so the sleeve ends like pretty much right before this wire split into the connector. But it's a lot better this way. Sticking a wire into the hole there, and then it's just ridiculous to do it that way. This is the professional way to do it. And I'm going to give myself a lot of slack because I don't know where I want to mount this resistor, and they get hot. So either I can mount it with a self-tapping screw through these holes, or I can use some kind of metal wire and just hang it from somewhere to get air cooled. I haven't made my mind up, but give yourself a good amount of room, even a couple feet of wire, so you can put it where you wish. So you don't have to put another splice with these types of connectors or whatever connectors you choose to use. Yeah, I know it's hard to see, but you should be able to see a little bit of silver to the sides of the solder ball, and that's how you know that the solder ball has released. I think that's kind of like the best. See, it all looks silver that way, and then you start seeing copper on the right-hand side there, but more, it disperses. You should be able to see it. I mean, I just don't direct the heat gun directly at it. I move it around so I evenly disperse the heat, but it's sucked onto that wire and this wire. I mean, it's really a strong joint, and the solder just helps the metal stay connected. And when I'm talking about slack, this is what I'm talking about 12 to 15 inches on each side, so I can put it around anywhere that I want. If I wanted to hook it to the underside and use some self-tapping screws in this piece of frame here, or if I wanted to you know, put it here. Something just that gives me an allotment of a choice of where to put it, not just to being restrained by size. Think about these things before you do these wiring installations. You know, there's a lot of space. Like I could bring it under here. Let's see. I could bring it under here and connect it to the frame right here. Well, not the frame, but this body piece, this body metal, you know, and you want to have some ability to make a choice. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to just hang this wire around this hood bumper and just let it hang. Oop. And when the hood shuts, right, when the hood shuts, the wire won't be able to come up and around because this is contacting this part here, right? So I don't want it to touch anything. So I'll just bring it up. And if it touches the metal, that's no big deal. This is just a quick fix. I'm not suggesting you do this, but now it's not touching anything but metal or air. And these things are known to get hot. So now that's done. I'm going to get this, the ground all fixed up. So I'm gonna have to replace both that connection and that connection. And when I do that, I'm gonna add some wires. So I wanna add like a foot or two of wire on both sides, hot and ground, to make this connection here be able to come all the way over here. So I don't have to, pull this harness. Like it just, I don't have a lot of ability to put it where I want currently. So, and I also want to give some extra wire to be able to hide this resistor. I want to put it back in this area, maybe mount it to the metal right here. But anything from here on is going to be seen through the grill because it's so open. So I'm going to give myself extra wiring to be able to have it hidden away back in here, and also have working space to have this harness probably down here. I'm going to use zip ties probably and put it down close to the frame rail there. Okay, so now I got done soldering, butt connecting the wires. Before, this harness was probably like right here and was able to connect there because they're pretty tight. But now I got it from pretty much there, I'd say like another 16 inches past, okay? So that allows me to do what? Well, that allows me to still stay connected. Let's connect these together. Okay, now they're connected. And I can still hide this resistor back up in this light housing somewhere safe. I wanted to put it up against this metal where the radiator sits on this side. That's fine. I can hang it if I want. I can do a lot of things, but I'm not stressing the wires. It's not what you want to do. I want to get it out of sight of the grill because, again, the grill is very open. So now I have to connect the yellow wire resistor and the ground resistor, and then both should be done, and hopefully the light is losing, but I should be able to get it done so I can show you both lights working properly. So what I've done is I've used the twist ties that came on the LED light package wiring. You know, it's like that twist tie stuff that, like, you know, like the bags of bread are twist tied with at the end. You know, it's like a little piece of wire with like a rubber out exterior. So I've just put it through the hole of the resistor and put it around one of these empty slots here and just twist tied it around, and you can see it's just sitting there. It ain't gonna come loose. I'll probably come up here with a zip tie or something like that to keep it a little bit more stable, but I don't think I need to use both of the connection points on the resistor. I think for as light as it is, I can't see it being anything more than 20 or 25 grams. And then do the same thing with the the excessive wire and just get it neat and put it away somewhere. For now, I've routed the wire around the grill connection, this plastic rivet, this pop rivet here, and I've just put it under, so it just, the resistor just hangs there in the air. Same thing with this side. See, it's just hanging there, not touching anything. I drove around for about an hour and a half today, and it was like 85, 83, and I put my hand to it, and it wasn't burning my hand or anywhere near any temperatures where my hand would have hurt, or I would have thought that it would have melted plastic. So I'm sure some resistors can get hot in certain situations, but I don't know. I think the way I have it, I'm just going to make it a little bit more professional. But for now, you know, keeping in the air, let the air cool them. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but this is where I put my ground here, right next to the battery on the frame. And then you can see the red wire leading to the ACC port in the fuse box there. So this is a little tight right here. I'm probably gonna use the same type of solder heat shrink connections and put about a foot or so on here, so I have a little bit of play, so I can route this around the battery. I might get a second battery and have dual battery system, either both of them here, or the system where you can put one battery here and keep the one in the original position here. But the next thing I'm going to do with these lights is I'm going to wire a cutoff switch. So pretty simple. I'll probably try to put a photo into what I'm getting in a second here, overlay on the video. And it's going to cut into this and then go into the cab. A simple just switch, just to cut off the power. So if I don't want to have my daytime running lights on, it's just an easy off switch that just kills the power to the entire assembly. But if you have them, enjoy them. You know, if you have them already, or you watch this and maybe decide to get them or not, and why, or if you've installed it or you're about to, you know, comment below and let me know what you did, or why you are or not getting them, or how it's working for you and how you find them to be as an investment. All right, I'm remote starting. And the sequence works. All 5 LEDs on each side independently work now. Only because of the resistors. I don't know why the LED factory mart tells me they don't need resistors. I don't know if it's a language barrier. I highly doubt it, but I thought I'd do another one, the start sequence, because last night was so dark. I think the lights overpower the camera. But yeah, I just got the tent done a couple days ago. I did 20% on the front to match the backs, and they didn't have any clear or 70% on the ceramic plus for the windshield. They only had enough just to do my windows, the sides and the rear, so I gotta wait for them to get more. I'm probably gonna do clear 70% on the windshield, so it's not noticeable. But yeah, not a bad sunset, right? Well, I don't know. I think it just depends on, is it worth it for you to do? If you like the lights enough for the work. For me, if I knew what I was up to and I had clear directions, and maybe a video like this, everyone had, you know, there has to be a first for everything, I guess, but I guess I'm that guy. I hope I've made it easier for you to decide, or if you're going to install these anyway, I hope it makes it a little bit easier.